Hey, everybody, welcome back to the NautZone. It is Super Bowl week, and we are here with you. And I say we, I am Scott Gulbransen. I am a writer, editor, and host over at Sportsnaut.com. Joining me from Radio Row in Las Vegas at the Super Bowl, as we mentioned, is our good friend, my co-host, Ryan Dyrud from the LA Football Network. He's on site. He's had a busy day. Is your larynx going to fall out anytime soon, Ryan?
It's okay for now. Last year was a different story. I lost my voice the day before Radio Row, which was a horrible timing. But I'm still holding firm this year. But hey, I missed you. I wish you were out here in your hometown. Wish you were here.
Yes, and we'll get into some of the stuff around Vegas because there were some comments about Vegas. I want to get into that. Even though I don't live there anymore, yes, I'm more protective. I have a child born there. My wife was born and raised there. You name it. So we'll get in. I went to school there. Obviously, you can see my license plate behind me, UNLV grad, the whole deal. But we're going to get into some subjects, not only about that, but the Super Bowl, and we'll get into the game as well. But Ryan, I know you with LA Football Network, and then also with with Sportsnaut, you've been doing a lot of stuff today, interviews. What was your favorite interview today, and how can we watch some of those so that people know to check out the work you've been doing on Radio Row today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been busy already. We got a lot going on the rest of the day, and then busy Thursday, Friday. So, we'll have stuff up on the LA Football Network channel. We'll have stuff up on the Sportsnaut channel. So everyone can find those there, obviously on the websites. But we had Brian Baldinger on earlier, which was great, talking NFL draft and doing some Chargers stuff there with the new hires and getting his comments. My guys right across are about to be interviewing as we do this show. They're having Trevor Sikkema on from PFF,
nice.
Who's a draft guru. So that'll be a fun one that we'll get up on Sportsnaut. We're going to have Adam Brenneman on, who's another former Penn State player and does a bunch of draft stuff. And we're having potentially, I'll just tease this for everyone, tomorrow morning, Saquon Barkley sighting.
Oh, so my gosh, there you go.
On Sportsnaut. Should be fun.
Okay, so first question you got to ask him is, how much will you take next year?
Right, yeah, just straight up.
He's got to set the market for us, so he's got to tell us what he's willing to take. Is it 12? Is it 14? Is it 10? I mean, who knows? It's going to be a crowded market, but we'll have not seen it. Well, good luck with that. That's going to be fun. Make sure you check out, obviously, here on Sportsnaut, on our YouTube channel, also up on the LAFB YouTube channel, as well as the website where you'll see all that content. So good stuff. All right, let's jump into this radio. Kind of what's the buzz around there about this game? Las Vegas is a first-time host. And so the stadium's only a few years old. And when I was living there and when I went to college there, no way in hell did I ever think that there would be a Super Bowl in Las Vegas, let alone a professional team. Of course, won the Stanley Cup last year, so you had the Stanley Cup there. And then the NCAA tournament's going to be there. The Final Four will be there next year. So it's just crazy how things have changed. But what's sort of the feel there overall with Las Vegas as a host city and how things are going thus far?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, Scott, right? Like, it is a true sports mecca now. I mean, the media party last night was at the F1 venue where they had the F1 race just a few months ago, like here on the Strip. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible. But, since we've been here, a lot of excitement, obviously. As you mentioned, first-time host. I know there's been some negative press or negative thoughts about what could go wrong, but in reality, it's a lot of people out here having fun, excited for this game. It's going to be a great matchup, which obviously we're going to talk about between the Niners and Chiefs. Both teams staying out in beautiful Lake Las Vegas at the hotels out there, about 30 minutes outside the Strip. So we've had some people there as well getting interviews. So we'll have that content up too. But keeping the players a little bit further away from the Strip. But obviously here on Radio Row, it's always eye candy walking around with all the athletes and superstars. And we got Kay Adams and FanDuel right over here. So, but yeah, the vibe is great, Scott. Everyone's really excited to be here and really excited. I think Vegas is really excited to be hosting this event, obviously.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not there. I appreciate Kay as a professional and her work, and I'd probably look like a creepy old man if I was just watching her do her thing because she's so good at it. But anyway, it's good that you're there, and we're glad. Let's get into those comments too, because I'm gonna show everybody here up on the screen, up on Sportsnaut.com. Joe Buck calls Super Bowl in Vegas, quote, a mess, makes ominous prediction, and basically what he says here, Ryan, is that, well, because he's not there, right? He used to call the game. He's not there. Fox not doing the game. So he's not there. Yeah. And his point was that it's just asking for trouble having the game in Las Vegas. Now, I get it. For folks that have never been to Las Vegas or they're outside Las Vegas, and you've only visited there as a tourist, Yeah, drinking, gambling, shows, food, that whole deal. I get it. But what I don't understand about this is what is wrong with Joe Buck? Has Joe Buck never been to New Orleans for a Super Bowl? I mean, the first time I went to New Orleans for a Super Bowl, I'm walking down the street like 5 minutes out of my hotel, and there's like 4 women walking down topless with painted, you know what? And I'm like,
Yeah.
so what's the difference? Now, legalized gaming there from a casino perspective, I get that piece of it. But it's really weird. The NFL is all in on Vegas. The NFL is in on gaming. I mean, you look at it, you got FanDuel there, you got all the partnerships that the NFL has. So it's really interesting that somebody with the gravitas of a Joe Buck, says something so overtly negative about an NFL host city that's going to be on the rotation along with Los Angeles and Miami and New Orleans.
Yeah, it'll be a usual suspect, I should say. But I don't really get it either, Scott. I mean, in my opinion, if you're going to get in trouble, whether you're an athlete in the game, whether you're a celebrity coming, or whether you're just a fan, if you're going to get in trouble in Vegas, you probably would have gotten in trouble in the other city anyway. I mean, if you're
Correct.
out to do something, it's not, I don't think that, there might be more temptations and whatnot and more access and availability to drink on the strip and all this stuff. But I don't think that's something that, and obviously New Orleans, you can do that anywhere as well. So, and the Super Bowl's been there many times. So I don't quite understand it. I don't know, like you kind of said, I don't know if he's just a little bummed out that he's not calling the game and he's not here, so why not poo-poo it? But
now you're on to something.
What it is. Yeah,
now you're on to
I
something.
think it's more of a, what's the word?
FOMO.
Jealousy. There we go. Or FOMO. Yeah, I think so. Gotta be that.
It's in Las Vegas and he doesn't get to be there. So go figure. But what's that? Hey, talking to other media, obviously the celebrities and stuff like that, and the media folks that you're talking to, like Baldy, who's on our show all the time for the Raiders, such a great guest. Obviously you learned that today. It's amazing. But what's the feedback from people there? Is this? I mean, it's the NFL. The NFL doesn't do anything half-assed. So I can't imagine, because you've been to 4 Super Bowl radio rows. You've been around. It doesn't feel any different than it did in Phoenix, does it?
No. I mean, what's nice about here, and this there was the option of this in Phoenix, but at least for us, is we're staying at the media hotel right next to Radio Row, so the access is great. I don't have to drive 20 minutes like I did in Phoenix from our Airbnb, but that's there's that optionality there as well. So, but no, I mean it feels like I was in Miami, I was in LA, I was in Phoenix, and now here it feels just like the same. We're in the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Everyone's set up with their tables. Everyone's got their banners. It's business as usual, but it's just in a really fun city. So a lot of stuff going on at night, obviously.
Of course. Yeah. Just a few things. I can only imagine. My son, who's still in college there, works on the strip too, part-time. And he's just been hammered from work. And he's just talking about how people are really, really nice, or they're the opposite. And I said, yeah, well, that's life. That's how it goes. So, but it's good for the city, good for all my friends and family in Las Vegas. I'm happy that the city gets to host the game. Let's talk about storylines now. If we look at what's been going on, we've been hearing about some Chiefs injuries, right? That the Chiefs might not be at full strength. What's the latest on what they're dealing with and whether or not they're that concerned about it?
Yeah, well, Snead is coming to Vegas, traveling with the team, so hopefully he should be good for them. Obviously, that's a huge piece, right, Scott? Like huge. He's one of the best secondary players in all of football, and obviously going against Debo and Kittle in this passing unit, they're going to need everyone back there, and so Snead would be huge. Andy Reid said yesterday, I believe it was either this morning or yesterday, the days are already blended together, but Joe Thuney, the great guard, is a long shot to play. So that's obviously a big loss on the offensive line if he is not able to go. So we'll keep some updates on that with more availability throughout the week. But those were kind of the two major updates in terms of, the key players on the Chiefs that I've heard at least.
Yeah, and this game is fascinating to me too because I love the matchup actually here because we look at the Chiefs and listen, the Chiefs. I talked to Michael Lombardi earlier in the week, and he told me he hit on a really great point, and you can catch my story up on Sportsnaut about it, where he said, it was the Raider loss that turned the Chiefs' season because Andy Reid was embarrassed, and Lombardi's point of view was the Raiders didn't win that game. The Chiefs lost it with the big turnover, obviously, and the pick six that Mahomes threw. And so you look at that and you say, wow, because it's true. After that game on Christmas Day, the Chiefs started to balance out their offense more. The Chiefs were obviously a throwing team. That's what we've gotten used to them. That's why they struggled. We talked about midseason, right, Ryan? About the struggling wide receivers, people holding on the ball. And then Kelsey's up and down year. and how that impacted the Chiefs. Then suddenly the Raider thing happens. Pacheco, they start running him more. They find a more balanced offense, and they seem to click more. Now they can do more on offense, and their defense continues to shine there. So that changeover and what the Chiefs have been able to do, I'm still shocked. I get it, but I'm shocked that they're still an underdog, because going into the game with a more experienced coach, I know Shanahan's been there before. He hasn't won one, but more experienced coach, the best quarterback in the league, and a more balanced offense now that doesn't just rely on his arm or legs. It's amazing to me. I mean, what's the feeling around there too? Or is it a heavy 49er feel, Chiefs feel? What do you think about what this Chiefs been able to do? This Chiefs team, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, most people we've talked to so far, it's still early in the week, but most people are leaning Chiefs, picking Chiefs. I think just how do you bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid at this point, and everything you said, and you said it so well, like that was a turning point, and they look like a different team. The defense has been good all year, and they've stayed good, but the offense is actually a dynamic offense yet again. It's not what it was, maybe 2 years ago or when Mahomes had his 50 touchdowns, but it's a threat again where it was 4 or 5 weeks ago. It was not good. They were just not a good offense. And now with that balance, as you alluded to with Pacheco and some of Mahomes' weapons playing better, still no superstars outside of Kelsey, but he's definitely getting more reliability out of those guys. Rice, I almost said Brendan Rice. We're looking at Brendan Rice, who played at USC over here, but Rashid Rice. But yeah, they really. It's funny that it came against the Raiders. I don't know how Raider fans feel about that, especially here in Vegas, but they certainly flipped a switch, and that's why they're here. And based on everyone we've talked to, including myself, I think they should be the favorite, and they kind of are the favorite, at least in the fan sentiment.
Yeah, a lot of folks lining up to bet. That it would be shocking. I don't think it'll get there based on my try. And I'm not a big gambler, but I do monitor what happens with the lines, because you can kind of get a sense for how things are going. A lot of people betting on the Chiefs. So if this thing ends up being a pick 'em at kickoff, I would be crazy. I don't think it will be, but we'll see. You look at the 49ers too. I talked earlier today, Ryan, with Chrissy Freud from the Sporting News. She's a quarterback expert and a protege of Mike Leach. And we were talking about Brock Purdy, because she actually, when Brock Purdy got drafted, to her credit, and it's all out there, she's got the receipts, she said he was going to be a very good pro quarterback. She kind of called it. Brock Purdy now, a lot of the coverage I'm seeing Super Bowl week, my friend, is game manager, game manager. I don't know why game manager is a dirty term. It shouldn't be. That's what a quarterback does. Even Joe Montana talked about it this week to say, what do you mean? I was the mailman. I just have to deliver the ball here, deliver the ball there. I am a game manager. So you look at Brock Purdy and him coming into this game, and of course, Patrick Mahomes, still no question, nothing against Brock Purdy. Great story. Patrick Mahomes is the best. But Brock Purdy and his ability to run that offense when it's running correctly, I don't think you can just dismiss that, and people shouldn't think that he can't win a Super Bowl because he's a quote-unquote game manager.
100%. Yeah. It's funny, Scott, how that's a dirty word, as you alluded to, because it is. It's almost like a offensive term to call someone a game manager, or it's not touting their talent level. And it's just, just because you're not the off-script Vans, you can still be a very good game manager quarterback, and I think Brock Purdy's proved that. And over his career, and specifically this season, he's done a great job proving that. And they have so many weapons, right? Like, you don't need to go outside of the system. Like, you just need to do your job when you have Kittle, when you have Debo, when you have Christian McCaffrey, and every time he's done that, they win the football game. So, absolutely, I agree with you. They're an absolute threat. I still lean Mahomes, which we'll get to predictions, I'm sure, at the end. But this isn't some pushover game just because Brock Purdy's the quarterback. I mean, he's clearly proven he can play in big games. He can carry this team and lead them in the right way. So will it be enough to get over the hump? That's what will be determined on Sunday. But he certainly deserves to be given credit for what he's done so far.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I think that it's such a Hollywood story. I mean, if Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl and somehow is MVP, not saying he would be, you never know. Quarterbacks obviously have a leg up if they perform well. Then, because I think it's going to be a close game, and we'll get into the prediction stuff in a minute, but I think it's going to be a close game. So whatever quarterback can get the ball last and drive their team successfully down the field might win the game. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But you look at that to me, the whole strength of that 49er team is the defense, right? They've invested the most money. You look at the defensive front, they go out and get Chase Young, who's not been great for them, let's be honest. When Chase Young went to the 49ers, like, wow, he's reunited with Bosa, his teammate from Ohio State. he's going to go off, and he hasn't been. He's been the weak link there on that San Francisco defense. Another interesting stat, Ryan, since the playoffs remember, the 49ers, as you know, covering the Rams, the 49ers gave up 10 rushing touchdowns the entire regular season. 10. So far in the playoffs, they've given up 5. So the weakness of the 49ers seems to be up the middle around that left end with Chase Young, and the Chiefs are running the ball well. So to me, I'm not saying the 49ers can't win this game, but to me, it seems like they're trending in the wrong direction, in the same direction that the Chiefs seem to be gaining steam.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. And who would have thought, Scott, at this point, we would say the Chiefs defense is better than the Niners defense? I mean, I think
never,
because going into this year, and the Niners still are a very good defense, so not taking that away. But I mean, the Chiefs' surprising defensive output from Steve Spagnuolo and obviously Chris Jones and all their playmakers is incredible. So, but I think that's a great point about the rushing touchdowns, and if the Chiefs lean into Isaiah Pacheco, which they have so far in the playoffs. I mean, they've been very well balanced. I think he had something like 24 or 25 carries against the Baltimore Ravens. So they're definitely leaning into him. And if they do that against the Niners, that's going to be, I think, the bread and butter. I mean, as Mahomes can win the game on his own, we know that. But why make him throw it 45 plus times if the running game is the weakness of what these Niners, defense, can exploit?
Yeah, and it's fascinating too, because I think that that Chiefs team, for all the narrative around them not being as good on offense, they've actually strengthened themselves, and that's a credit to, I think, coaching. I mean, let's face it, Andy Reid made that adjustment after that game and just decided, no, we cannot do the same thing we're doing. A lot of coaches stick to their guns. They're just going to do what they do, and that ends up costing them. Instead, he switches up. Interesting story, though, today. I don't know if you saw it. The Chiefs are obviously practicing at the Raiders facility over in Henderson. Eric Bieniemy stopped by to see his old team, the out-of-work Eric Bieniemy. So it'd be interesting to see if he ends up back there or what's up happening there, because this Chief offense is changing. Obviously, they need some player personnel issues there too. But every year, as you know, Ryan, the NFL rosters very rarely stay static. They change. They're changing every single year because of salary cap, because of all sorts of issues, upgrades, and so on. And so it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams change going into the offseason. The Chiefs, we know their needs. 49ers have a lot of talent, and they're going to have, I think, some tough decisions to make too. So we'll see how this game impacts that all. But let's talk about the game now as we start to think about Sunday and going in. We talked about the rushing attacks on both sides. I think, too, San Francisco, I think 2 things they need to do, Ryan, to really get off on the right foot and to put themselves in the best chance to win the championship again, is to, A, start fast, score, get up quickly. And also, I think against that tough Chiefs defense, Christian McCaffrey, I think, has to have a big day.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's an absolute must. We talked all playoffs, like he's the best player on the field. You could argue between both teams, outside of Mahomes, he's the best player on both sides of the ball. And so Kyle Shanahan and that play calling, you got to lean into Christian McCaffrey. That doesn't necessarily mean run the ball up the gut 30 times, get him involved in the passing game, have him on jet sweeps, have him on the outside, run him away from Chris Jones, obviously. But that is absolutely, I think, the key. The other point I've heard some people talk about is, the Niners did a good job. They, play him twice every single year, but they've done a pretty good job over the last 4 to 5 years of shutting down Aaron Donald with the Rams. And so when you look at Chris Jones and what the Chiefs will want to do with Chris Jones, the Niners, will obviously key whether it's double or triple teaming Chris Jones. And so it's going to be really important for George Karlaftis on that other side to be able to get pressure on his own. So if they can neutralize Chris Jones and then run with Christian McCaffrey out, that's got to be their bread and butter. And that's the way I think they can get this, not just keep this game close, but potentially win this game, is a big game from Christian McCaffrey, like you said, Scott, and then really, really honing in on, how to shut down Chris Jones.
No doubt about it. I mean, Chris Jones. And then on the you look at the Chiefs too. You look at back to the 49ers defense. You look at Bosa. Who's Bosa going to be going against? DeJuan Taylor, right? The most penalized offensive lineman in the NFL. That's going to be tough, because why does he get penalized so much? Because he gets beat a lot. He holds. So I think on the other side of the coin, the San Francisco 49ers, while they're going to be trying to contain the Chiefs' run as well, the most dangerous person in the game, of course, is, as you mentioned, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes knows how to get out of the pocket and create, not run the ball. He runs when he has to, but he's so dangerous when he's flushed out of the pocket because the crazy passes we've seen, his ability to find receivers, especially Travis Kelce, downfield when a play breaks down. So it's crazy to think that the 49ers could have a great rush and it could actually hurt them because you set loose Mahomes. What are the 49ers going to have to do with Patrick Mahomes in order to keep him in check enough so he doesn't he might flush out of the pocket, Ryan, but you don't want to give him way too much time to look downfield.
Oh man, I mean, this is the question every
defensive coordinator
up at night, right? What do you do to stop Mahomes? I mean, I think it starts with don't play zone. Do not play zone and let Travis Kelce just pick apart your zones. And obviously Mahomes is so good at, predetermining and seeing where the pockets will be. And they're so dialed in with his, specifically Kelce, but now as the season's, progresses, we talked about with his receivers. So don't play zone. You got to play really sticky man. And, you got to have your secondary play, strong and stick to their guns there. And then, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, but simply put, you just got to get a pass rush on him. And I know he can escape the pocket and can beat you with his legs and can obviously go off script better than anyone in the game. But when getting pressure, like we saw the Broncos do twice against him, they lost the first game 16-8. The second game they won for the first time because the defense was able to get pressure. Mahomes actually threw interceptions and made some poor decisions. We've seen other games throughout the season when the pressure is dialed up. If you can do it with 4, obviously that's way better when you can keep that secondary to keep everyone in check. But if you got to send a blitzer every now and then, they need to do it just to keep him honest. So it's got to be, playing man, and it's got to be getting pressure on Mahomes. It's obviously easier said than done, and that's, very
much
simply
easier
put. But I think that's the recipe there. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% there. And I think, listen, the one thing that I've noticed about Pat, as good as he can be, with the way things have broken down with the Chiefs, and it's happened less obviously since that Christmas Day game against Las Vegas, but he turns the ball over a little more than you're used to. And in a game like this, that could be a big deal. And not that Brock Purdy escapes that either, but I wonder because I see this game being so close, and it could be one of those errors that ends up doing it because you're in the big time. You say, well, Mahomes has been there, sure he has, so you got to give him the edge there. There's no question about it. But Brock Purdy, cool as a cucumber, man. I mean, listen, everybody's asking him about like I said earlier, the game manager thing that he has a good team. It's not really him, and he kind of sloughs it off. And I think these two guys, they're different personalities because they're very two different dudes, right? But I think that coolness and what they have to do in leading their teams is really remarkable. But I do think that, yes, they're going to you have to disrupt Mahomes. When Mahomes does get beat, it's because he can't get into a rhythm. So the San Francisco's defense is going to have to do that. And then on the other side of the ball, we mentioned Brock Purdy again, they're going to have to find that balance and do what they do best. And I'm just wondering, who's going to break down first, right? Because that Chiefs defense has been so good, and you just got to like what they've been able to do there. But I see this one, as I said, I see this one being a very, very close game, Ryan. And I can't go against the Chiefs. I would like to. And even Patrick Mahomes today talking about, you may have heard it, well, if I'm the villain because I win, I'm like, villain? Well, yeah, when you get to be good and you start to think about somebody winning 3 Super Bowls, he's ascending the walkway, if you will, to Mount Rushmore, right, for NFL quarterbacks. He's not there yet, don't get me wrong, but he's starting to get there with the Montanas and the Bradys and Bradshaw, those type of guys. And so to me, it's a fascinating storyline, but it's hard for me to bet against them. And I don't mean that from a money perspective, just period, because of what they've been able to do.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. We had this conversation last night. If Mahomes wins, so he gets his 3rd Super Bowl, he's been to 4, right? And he's 28 years old, I think. I'm probably wrong on that. So still has a lot of career left. But let's say he gets his 3rd, doesn't even win another one. Do you put him top 5 already, as is, quarterback all time?
Ooh, I don't know if I put him top 5 just yet. I think he will be eventually, barring, knock on wood, any kind of injury to the guy. You don't want that for anybody. But I think he's got that potential, right? If he continues the way they're continuing. And look, nobody wants to say it because it's been in such a different fashion. And again, 6 Super Bowls for the Patriots, right? Yes, they were in an easier division. I know all that stuff, but still, they won 6 of them. Okay.
Yep.
You get to 3, you're halfway there. Now, if he were to win 3 Super Bowls and that's it, depending on how the rest of his career goes, yeah, I'd still think he's there. He's there, top 10, maybe even higher than that, depending how his career goes. But nobody wants to say it, Ryan. This is what I was going to get to. The Chiefs are, in today's terms, starting. You can't say they're not an AFC dynasty, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 4 of 6 Super Bowls, right? I mean,
six straight AFC championships or whatever.
Right,
I think.
Right. And for the rest of the people in the AFC West, they hate to hear that, of course, but it is what it is. I mean, that's what they've been able to do, and how long that lasts. Everything good comes to an end, and a lot of it has to do with Andy Reid. I don't think he's retiring next year, obviously, as he said, but I do think though that it's hard. You have this combination of player and coach, and if they're still going together and they're still both kicking and alive and doing well, the potential there is to perhaps at least get close to catching what the Patriots are able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's most wild about it, Scott, is what the Patriots did. I for sure thought, I think a lot of people did, like that would never be replicated. It was like, man, this was like a once in a lifetime dynasty. In football, there's just too much parity. It doesn't happen like that with the draft, with free agency, with the salary cap. Like you can't build these dynasties like they do in other sports. It won't happen again. As soon as that ended, we already have another one. And it's a ways to go. Absolutely. But it's wild that it's already is what it is this quickly and this early on. So yeah, they're absolutely the modern dynasty in football right now. And it can go a lot longer, unfortunately, for non-Chiefs fans.
Yes, I know. And for your fans down in LA with the Chargers, fans I talk to every week on our Raiders show, yeah, they're not happy. They don't want to see that happen at all. They're all rooting for the 49ers, of course, in this one. So we'll see, which is tough for people in California rooting for another California team, even if it's not in their area. So we'll see how it goes. All right, let's talk about the game now. For me, again, I can't bet against Mahomes. I really believe, and I know San Francisco folks out there, lots of you 49er fans out there are not going to want to hear this, but I really believe that that the Chiefs win this, and they do it late and they do it in a close game. I'm thinking a field goal, or if they're down, they're going to score a touchdown at the end. Mahomes just does a little magic at the end of the game when the defense is tired. And so that's how I see it go. I just see, for the first time in a while, the Chiefs being the first back-to-back champions here in Super Bowl 58.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like everything we've said, just can't bet against the greatness that is Mahomes. I do think it'll be a close one as well. The Niners are a legit team. From top to bottom, they have the best roster in football, even better than the Chiefs, I think, overall, when you look at the overall totality of the roster. But yeah, it'll be a close one. It'd be a fun ending if it's another, dramatic ending like last year against Philadelphia, right? At the very end there. I think even with how great these defenses are, it might be a little more high scoring. It seems like every Super Bowl we've had recently.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but for the most part, even good defensive teams ends up being a more offensive game. The script is working, right? We're getting points, I guess, in the Super Bowl. So I think we'll see more points, but I agree. I got the Chiefs. I think I'll take them by 4.
4. There you go. Wow. So that would be a nice swing there as well. So we'll see. So we both got the Chiefs here. Sorry, 49er fans. You can tell us what you think. Leave comments and below, and you can tell us what you think of all of this. And of course, Ryan, have a good time out there. And I know, as you mentioned, a lot of content coming out of Radio Row with Ryan in Las Vegas and the team there at LAFB and Sportsnaut, including some stuff that's already up that you guys have done. I mean, you ran into Taylor Luan last night with Will out there and getting his prediction. You also have some great videos up there on the stadium, on Super Bowl blunders, on Travis Kelce, on Taylor. We even got our managing editor, David Cool, did a parody of a Taylor Swift song. It's funny stuff, man. It's funny stuff. And we got more coming. It's going to be a busy week.
Yes, sir. Always happy to be with you and good to be out here. Wish you were out here with me, but you're here in spirit. So excited.
Yes,
to get
but
I'll
see you a couple of weeks in Indianapolis. We'll be at the Combine together. So we'll do our show from there that week. That'll be fun. And we get to see some of the young bucks and the guys who are next up in the NFL looking for their Super Bowl dreams to come true. All right, Ryan, enjoy yourself out in Las Vegas, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel here for Sportsnaut. Do us a favor, put on that notifications bell. Oh yeah, the bell, ring a ding ding, so that you know every time we got a new video. And there's going to be a crap ton of videos coming up this weekend and this week from Radio Row, from the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, and from the studios at Sportsnaut. So make sure you do that as well. Also, do us a favor, follow us on all the social media channels, wherever you're active, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever you enjoy. Go ahead and do that, and you can keep track of what we're up to. Ryan, take care. We'll see you next week, friend.
Thank you, my friend. Talk to you then.
All right. For everybody here at Sportsnaut, this has been the NautZone. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.